Well, good morning. Let's get on with our 7K Hawaii Ohana advanced training. Uh, Most of you have been in the business for a little over 4 months, and some just joining us. But, if you started with the Business Family Pack, you're already advanced because you did what it was necessary to start a big business. And so let's talk about a few subjects this morning. I'm going to try and break them down into segments, but leadership points, loyalty points, and what they mean to you, and where they're accounted for, and how you get them. So, very first thing we're going to talk about is leadership points. Now, you get 2 leadership points when you when you personally enroll someone with a $4.99 business premium pack membership. So 2 leadership points. Where are they found? They're found in your profile. So when you log in, you go to your profile, you'll find your loyalty points, your days of activity, and your leadership points. Now, leadership points are something you cannot control, but they're extremely valuable, and they will accumulate, and they will be used by the computer automatically. So you can't say use it here, don't use it here. You have no control over that. It's something that's built into the comp plan. It's something that happens automatically. Now, what leadership points do is they roll over your commission points, points that you're allowed to be paid on, but you did not have enough to cycle. Now, what's a cycle? A cycle is 500 points. So we have now in our business, because of COVID, we have a temporary $250 cycle for anything under 500 points. So let's talk about that one first, real quick, because no leadership points are used in any rollover for anything less than 500 points. It's an automatic rollover for under 500 points. And also, to make it clear, as long as a person is active, their points roll over from week to week to week to week to week. So they do not lose their points as long as they're active. And now we're going to talk about activity today too. Leadership points, loyalty points, activity, and then how to optimize those. So that's a pretty big set of subjects right there. And if you master these, you will earn your maximum commission and spend the least amount of money. And that's the way you build big business. You spend less to make more. That's called a return on investment. And so the higher your return on investment, the bigger you're going to build your business. And if you keep duplicating that process, you will accumulate wealth and build a huge business worth millions. And that's what we want to talk about. Now, it's not get rich quick overnight. I didn't develop my income overnight. It took 4.5 years from day one until now. But now we're making over $500,000 a year. And probably next year we'll be making over $1 million a year. And that same thing can happen to each and every one of you that is hearing this training for the first time. Maybe it's a year from now, and you're part of someone's team that's hearing this live and will be able to utilize it more than anyone else because they caught the training live. Because you always lose something when one person teaches another person, teaches another person, teaches another person. It always gets diluted. Unfortunately, that's a fact in life. Just take the old party game where you whisper a description of a cow into somebody's ear, and you're sitting in a circle, and you go around about 20 people, and then somebody whispers it to you or declares it out loud what the last person told them, and they're describing a donkey. You know, that's just how it goes. You never get the same animal described back to you that you started and whispering it to the person on your left as you went around clockwise in the party. So the same thing happens in training. Those who get it direct from the source are those who maximize and utilize it best. And that's why I put it on YouTube trainings, so that you can then have your people review it as you reviewing it with them. And in all things in life, like in my training system, you've got to see a video 7 times before you really understand it. And any of you that read the Bible understand that it's a living document. Things are revealed to you throughout your entire life. And even though you may have read it multiple times, the next time you read it, you learn something new. And that's the same thing it is with this business, I can tell you. You can watch that wealth strategy video multiple times, but all of a sudden you watched it and man, you caught something new. Well, that's part of the system of being successful in network marketing. And mine is based on 7s. Everything you do, you got to do 7 times. You got to follow up with people 7 times. And that means not 7 times in a day or in a week. It means that if they said no and they just pushed you away and they wouldn't even take the information, you go through your list of 500. And if you do my job description, 5 people a day, 5 days a week, well, that's 25 people in 1 week. That's 100 people in a month. It takes you 5 months to go through your list of 500. And if you don't have a list of 500, you're not going to build $1 million business. You must do that. And that's the thing most people will not do, is that list of 500. And it's a very unfortunate, because see, I've built a list of over 3,000. But that took me a long time to build that list. And I'm adding to my list every day. See, I've got a whole bunch of new people now that I meet through this business that I've never met before in my life. And now my circle of influence has greatly grown because of this business. And so it will be with you. And you will always meet new people. You need to always list build. And so let's get on to the major topics of today. And that is leadership points, loyalty points, and how to and how to optimize your income in doing that. So in doing that, leadership points are earned by sponsoring a person with $4.99. So let me go to sharing my whiteboard, if I can find it on this little thing somewhere. I think that's not it. So let me stop here and try again. Hopefully it didn't go away on me while I was there. It is right there. Okay. The best way to describe leadership points is through real examples and trying to communicate them with you. And so I'm going to get my old whiteboard pen out here and see if I can't. There we go. Okay. Yep, it's writing. Okay, here's leadership points. So let's say you sponsor a person and you place them on your right side, and that's a $4.99 premium. That's this one right here. It comes with 2 leadership points. None of the other memberships come with any leadership points. Now, the Standard Plus, you cannot enroll anyone with the Standard Plus. That's only a renew membership, and you can see that in your profile for renewals. So why is it there? Well, it's a little different package, and it comes with 100 points. And notice this is 50, this is 100, this is 150. Once you bid in the business, sometimes that renewal at 100 points can mean the difference between a $500 check and 400 in loyalty points. Oh, that means, especially if you have a business family pack. So when you sponsor someone, you immediately get 2 leadership points put into your counter in your profile. Now, how is that used? Well, let's say your counter here, and I'm not going to put it in my blocks up here. I'm going to just say that, let's say you're an associate, okay, and you have 498 points here, and you have 1,500 points here. And Saturday, 8 p.m. Hawaii time, that's the end of your payroll week. It's 12 midnight Mountain Standard Time. So the payroll ends Mountain Standard Time. So it's converted to whatever local time around the world for that 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if that is how you end your pay week, then, and you're an associate, this is what's going to happen. They're going to subtract 250 points from there, and you're going to be left with 248 points in your left side. And they're going to subtract 250 points from this side, minus 250 from both sides. And they're going to pay you a $250 check. And you're going to start off this balance with $1,250. So you start next week with a counter that says 248 on your left and $1,250 on your right. And you use no leadership points. That's pretty cool. You are already 2 points away from another $250 check. So you can cycle a 250 cycle for anything less than 500 points. Anything over 500 points, you must be an associate to earn a check. It will cycle at 500 points. So let's take the situation that you have 510 points and 1,500 points, and you have 1 active on your left and no actives on your right, and Saturday at midnight occurred, Mountain Standard Time. What is going to happen? Well, they're going to subtract 510 points and leave you with 0. And they're going to subtract 510 points from this side and leave you with 990 points. Because you could have made a check. You could have been an associate, but you didn't. But this is your incentive to do such. You're going to cycle those 500 points, and those 10 points you weren't eligible to earn on, so they're going to cycle out too. Now, had you had 1 active over here instead of none, you would have been an associate. And so it would be worth spending $199 sponsoring a person on your right. You spend $200, you get a coin with that membership, and you get a $500 check. That's worth it every day. It's called a no-brainer. So if this person had signed in, they did not get a business family pack, it's time they start getting their business family pack. So they get their 1 on their right, because everybody can have 1 in their name and 1 in a company name and 1 in their spouse's name and 1 in their spouse's company's name. So if a person is married, they can actually have 4 individual accounts. And so we enroll their spouse or their dad or their mom or their son or their daughter or their cousin or their whoever. And this is an account that they would like to have control of. Okay. So understand that if you do not have anyone sponsored, if you have 0 and 0, that same cycle is going to occur, but you're not eligible to make a jack. The computer cycles at every 500 points, regardless. Now, that's why we say, get on autosaver, make sure you're always active, and that you're always eligible to earn a check because you're active. So you have to be active, and you have to have an active on your left and an active on your right. And if you start with a business family pack, you will always be able to earn a check. So let's take this situation that you had 510 and 1,500, but you weren't buying a coin on your business family pack. And the person you sponsored down here on your group, they weren't active. And the person you sponsored on your right, they weren't active. So what should you do? Well, why not buy a coin here? You already have the membership. It's good for a year. You can just go in, add it to your autosaver, click process now, order a coin, it immediately becomes active. You can delete the autosaver. So if you're not wanting to buy a coin every month on that, make it active because you're eligible to earn a check. So you make it active. You go over and make your other business family pack active. You buy 2 coins. That's $105 each. That's $210. And you get a $500 check. So your coins were free that are worth more in the future, which we've proven. And you come out a net positive $280 ahead. Well, that's pretty powerful. That's building income, building a business, building equity in your business. And that's what you're all about doing. That's why it's so important to have a business family pack, because you're in control of when you get paid or not. Wow, that's pretty powerful. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. Why the business family pack is so important and why everyone ends up with it in time. Remember, I just told you, if you had 1 active here and none over here, and you needed 1 more active, but you didn't start with a business family pack, you would spend $199 and start getting that business family. That's what happens. And I'm going to show you in the computer here in a second how you manage that and how you show people that. And but it's important that you learn this one principle that I'm talking about here. Now, so you're going to get a $500 check. That's pretty powerful. Now you do lose that 10 points. Okay. Now you start off the next week. Now you got an active on your left and an active on your right. And that's how you start. Now that's good for 4 weeks, 32 days. So if you accumulate more points, even if it's just 250 or 300, you're going to get paid. So that's really worth buying those coins and having that business family pack. And in this case, we call them control centers because you're in control of your check. Okay, let's take it a step further. Now, let's learn what happens if you're a copper. Okay, now you're a copper. So let's look at a copper. A copper can earn 2 $500 cycles in 1 week. So let's say that your counter on your left side is 2,500 and your counter on your right side is 850. And you've got 2 actives and 1 active. But you had a business family pack. And that 1 active is someone else that you personally sponsored to make you a copper. So now you're a copper here in this example. But now for your pay week, you're not a copper because you only have 2 actives on your left and 1 active on your right. So you're actually an associate. So would you buy a coin on your control center to make 2 actives so you could get a bigger check? Answer is yes. Or that you can make these points count for you, because let's take the case that you do not. Let's take the case that you let it play out. You were a copper, but in this case, you're an associate. Here, you're just an associate. What will happen if you're just an associate? Well, they're going to subtract 850 points on both sides. That's all going to cycle out because you're an associate. You weren't eligible to earn on anything above 500, so it's going to flush. So you're going to get a $500 check. Now, they're going to subtract 800. You're going to end up with 0, 850 on this side, and you're going to have 1,650. And that's what you're going to start the next week with, and a $500 check. Well, I suggest that the best scenario is you spend $105. We know you got 2 leadership points, and you spend $105. You make another active over here and get a coin, and now that makes you a copper for the pay week. Got 2 actives here, 2 actives here. Got an associate on your left, an associate on right, makes you a copper. Now, what's going to happen? Well, if you've got a leadership point, here's what's going to happen. Let's go back and let's do these numbers one more time. And there we go. Got 2 actives here. We got 2,500 and 850. Now we're copper. We bought a coin, made an active, we're copper. Now what's going to happen? And we got 2 leadership points. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to subtract $500 from both sides. They're going to pay you a $500 check. And you're a copper, you're eligible to get paid on those 350 points that are left. And so on this side, we know you're going to end up with 2,000 points. Oh, look here, you got more points here too. Now, what happens to those 350? Well, if you got a leadership point, they will subtract 1 leadership point and leave you with a balance of 1, and they carry over 350 points to your next week. Commission points. So you already start the next week with a $250 check if nothing happens that next week and you're already active as a copper for another 32 days. Wow. So that $105 check buying a coin, that made you lots of revenue. Okay. So if nothing happens this next week, you're going to make a $250 check. They're going to subtract out 250 points from both sides. You're going to end up with 100 points rollover. Did not use, because it's less than 500, did not use a leadership point. You still got your leadership point, and they subtract 250 points here. Unless more points came up and added to that, then it just made that balance bigger. But they're only going to subtract 250 from each side because that's what they paid you, and you made a $250 check. And all you did was buy a coin. So recognizing these situations in the computer is extremely important to you and your business and for your team, because the leader is the one that sees these things. Because a lot of people just aren't looking at it as big business yet. They haven't trained themselves yet to do this. So let's take the other scenario. Okay. Let's say you had no leadership points. We had this same situation, 850 points and 2,500 points. Same situation. And you're copper. Let's say you are a copper. And if you're not a copper, the same thing would be applied, that you make a decision. But let's just go ahead and see how it plays out as a copper. You're already active, you're a copper, where you're eligible to be paid on all 850 points. But you have no leadership points, so what happens? Well, they'll subtract 500, just like the case when you have leadership point. You get a $500 check, same thing. You end up with 350 points, but those 350 points do not roll over as commission. They go into your loyalty bank, so you can get free product. Now, 350 points are a lot of points in loyalty for free product. So that's called commission rollover, okay, in loyalty, because you had no leadership points, but you got a form of payment on those 350 points. So you're going to end up with 0 here and 2,000 points in your commission counter, but your loyalty bank is going to read 350 points, which you can get free product with. Now, if you had the case where you were just one and you were just a copper, associate, you have that same situation. Do I buy a coin, make myself a copper, and utilize all my loyalty points and build up my loyalty and roll it over and get a coin? Or do I just let it flush? It's your choice. As an associate, all you are eligible to get paid on is 500. So anything above that on your pay side will flush. So that's where it becomes your decision. I'll tell you what I do. I buy a coin. I put my points in my loyalty points because I like getting those expensive, great products. I've got some very rare products out of loyalty that I was just so shocked they put them in, and for that amount of loyalty point. So let me go through one other scenario here in loyalty points so you know where all you get your loyalty points from. Every time you buy a coin, like when you buy a coin here, well, that center where you bought it on gets loyalty points too. So every time you buy an autosaver, and I need to change this, don't I? Because we no longer have the 309 and 30. But every time you buy any loyalty autosaver, every time you buy it, it doesn't matter if you buy it once a month or 5 times in a month. Every time you buy it, you get 30 loyalty points into your loyalty. Every time you enroll someone, you get 100 loyalty points. So not only do you get your commission points, you get your loyalty points. The loyalty points go to your bank account, loyalty bank account. Your commission points goes to your dashboard on your commission counter that we're talking about here, your left and right commission counter. Okay. Hopefully that made that real clear, because it's important for you to understand it. I'm about to show you now how you use your downline report to see situations like this. And I'm going to do one more example here on the board and ask you a couple of questions that should be no-brainers, but I like everybody to see this themselves. I wish I could erase fast. If I clear my board, it clears all the stuff I had up there. So I haven't quite mastered this technique yet. I have to do it a little slower way, but it does work. Okay. So I don't have to erase everything right now. I can come back and erase. I just need to get a little clear spot so I can illustrate this point that I want to do with you. Okay. Get my pen working again. Okay. Let's say you've got a big business that's built up here and built up here, but you don't have a bit. It's just you, and you've sponsored, several people, and maybe you have, 3 actives here on this side and 2 actives here, but nobody's an associate. You're just an associate. Okay. And then maybe these people became inactive. In other words, so in terms of actives, you sponsored them, but they're not buying an autosaver, and you got none. And then these people became inactive too, and you got none. Now that will happen sometimes. That the numbers I just put there is very infrequent to happen if we're building the business in according with my system, because the probabilities do not, that doesn't play out in terms of probability. But let's just say this is what happened, and you end up and you get, let's say you have 600 points on this team. This is a team you're building, and you got like 3,000 on this side. But we're at the end of the pay week. You have no actives left, no actives right. You did not start with a business family pack. Let me give you a better one. I like this one. You have 450 points. There we go. And 3,000 on this side. You did not start with a business family pack. But I told you and you told everybody, you're going to always end up with a business family pack somewhere in time. Well, this would be the case. You would end up with a business family pack if you didn't start with one. Who would not spend $400 to get $500 and get their business family pack? So their business family pack is free. It's paid for by commission. Instead of paying for it up front, like most of us do, they earn their business family pack. So what do? they sponsor their U2 here, and it goes way at the bottom, the first available spot on the left, and there are 3 over here, and it goes way at the bottom on the right. Now they have an active left and an active right because they're active as soon as they enroll for 32 days. So they have an active on their left, active on the right. That's 50 points. Those 50 points add there makes 500 points. They're going to get a $500 cycle check. And that was $199, $199, and they get a coin. That's a pure no-brainer. So hopefully you understand that and you can start explaining that to people. And now let me stop sharing here and let me share my back office and your downline report. So you go log in, you go to your downline report. Now I want to share with y'all what I do sometimes. I look, and what I look at is when people are cycling. This is a Saturday. I started looking at it yesterday, and I want to tell you why. Okay. And you should do this for your group, everybody on your left and right. And you also look and add inactives, because the inactive doesn't necessarily mean they've lost their points yet. Okay. So you want to click both active and inactive. So you're looking at both everybody. And so let me share with you a couple of things that we're going to look at. Now, I'm going to share with you ones that I already found yesterday and we had corrected. Okay. And let me hit those right now. You see Kathy Grace here? Well, she had no actives on her left, 1 active on her right, but she had 485 points on her left. Well, I called up the sponsor, who is my friend and CPA, Cecil Kavanaugh. He was already on it. And so I said, you know, Kathy already has a position over there. It's inactive, but she's going to cycle if she doesn't buy a coin. But by the way, it needed to be renewed. So this was a renewal date. So if you buy a coin, you're going to have to turn around and renew. So the best thing was to go ahead and renew, made her active, cost her $199, but it was free because her commission paid for the renewal, and she made a $500 commission check. Had she not done that, she would have cycled those points and made nothing. So she got a free renewal and came out $300 ahead and a coin ahead. That's pretty cool. So we called up Valerie Guntz. Now, Valerie had 1 active on her right. She hadn't personally sponsored anybody on her left. And so she was in the same situation. She had 485 points and no personal sponsors. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. She had an active on her right, on her left, but she had no active on her right. And she hadn't done, she personally sponsored a person. They were building. So she was building and they were building. And so she had no actives on her right, but she did not start with a business family pack. So we called Valerie. We explained to her if she would get her business family pack, 1 position on it, and put it on her right, she would then be an associate and she'd make a $500 check. The money she spent for a business family pack was actually earned. And now she's got a business family pack, and her position is way down here at the bottom under all the people on her right side. Okay. And that's where her position is, not at top, at the bottom. Okay. but she's going to get a check. And it meant 50 more points coming up and 50 more points coming up. Both of these was for Cecil. Okay, so that meant 100 points. He actually made another check because of that. So by helping people make a check, he made a check. Well, this is in Hawaii. So I've already called the person and notified them that you have a situation. You have 0 actives on your left, 0 actives on your right. You are going to cycle 500 points on both sides. And it's going to end up with 0 over here and 537 points less over here, and you're not going to make a check. So this is the time to get 1 on the left, 1 on the right, get the business family pack, make an associate, and then they get a check, and their business family pack was free. And they come out net dollars ahead and 2 coins ahead. Well, that's pretty powerful. Now, I've already notified them. It's up to them if they do it. I don't twist anybody's arm to do anything. Okay. So Chris Enright, since I did this yesterday, I'm going to tell you about the ones that's already taken place. And I teach people to do this. Now, this is in George's business. He had already seen it, and he was already in touch with Chris, because Chris was exactly the same way. He had 500 and 500 points, and he had only 1 active on his right and no active anymore on his left. But he started with a business family pack. His left, he could have bought a coin and got paid, but his left was his wife. She needed to be renewed. And so I told George, hey, don't buy a coin, renew. And then that makes them active for 30 days. And because they're going to have to renew anyway. So come the 1st of this month, they'll renew. So they'll buy a coin now and renew. That's $305. Whereas you just renew, you're going to get your activity and you're going to get a $500 check. Oh, Chris saw that in a heartbeat, and he just went click, click went to his wife's account, went to profile, went to renew now, and bingo, the renewal process immediately made him active. And now come tonight at midnight Mountain Time, he's going to get a $500 check. And the renewal basically was free, and he comes out net positive check. Tanner Redding, in the same situation. Look, 0 actives, 0 actives. He has not sponsored anybody yet. He does not have a business family pack, but they're not in my business. This is somebody placed down underneath me. And, it would help my volume, my team volume, but I have more to devote to my team. If I have time, I will try, because see, I have to look, and I don't know who Ken Redding is. That's his sponsor. So I'd have to go and try and find out who Ken Redding's sponsor is to be able to tell them. And so if I know that, then I would be happy to tell them about it. But I don't know who that is. So maybe they'll see my YouTube training one day. I don't know. Brad Grace, another situation. Again, I'm gonna call Cecil back, because I know this is Cecil's. And so they have a similar situation with Brad. 1 on the left, 1 on the right, makes a business family pack, but he's active 9 days. So, he's not going to buy a coin and it be placed over here for another. So they got several weeks, and I know they're aware of this because of the other situation with Grace, which he just took care of. So I know they're aware of it. Will it happen this week, next week? But it's going to happen during their period of activity here. before they buy another coin, because 15 points will go down here and make 500 points. So how to cycle and where we're at, you see, this is the same thing. So I'm just looking through here with people who have one on their left, one on their right, or like Spencer. You see Spencer in the future? He's one that I'll be looking at, that he's got one active and 0. So as his point, as he buys a coin, it's going to go here. So it's going to build up. And so when he gets to 450, he should act and spend $199, get his center, make his $500 check. Landon has got none and none. So if they don't sponsor someone, then they, HS, I'd have to look and see who that is, has got lots of points here, but no active here. Another case that we'd be looking at. So week to week, I'll look at these things, and so should you. So should you. And that's how you get the answering all these questions up here about who are my personals, who's cycling soon, who's going to be inactive soon. And once you start answering those questions, who's going to be inactive soon, you'll be able to know if you're going to lose rank or not. And if you go through your personals and look at inactives and their personals on your rank people, then you can see what you need to do to hold your rank. If you need to hold rank, those with the 100-ounce silver bar, they need to hold rank because there's an incentive to hold rank, a major incentive, a bonus. Now, those of us that are holding rank for our pay, we look at our pay. Let me tell you one other thing you look for here. You look for a person, and I've already spotted one. I'm about to give them a call, and it's in Hawaii. They got like 981 points. Okay, they're more than a copper. They're a bronze or a silver. Okay, if they don't have any leadership points, this is what I want to share with you. And I'm going to do that on the board again. If they don't have any leadership points, I'm going to share with you what happens and why I'm going to call them. Okay. Okay. This person I know has 5 actives here and 5 actives here, because I know they're more than a copper. They got 981 points. And they got like 17,000 points or whatever here. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay. This is what it is today. So I want to ask you, I want to see how you think with the training I've given you so far today. Not just here today. I'm talking about since you joined until now. They are eligible to get paid on 1,000 points. And if they have leadership points, let's say they have 5 leadership points, what should they do? If they have leadership points, they should do nothing, because they don't need to spend any money. They're going to get credit for everything. It's going to deduct 500 points, roll over 481 to start Sunday, deduct 500 points, and roll over all of that, pay them a $500 check, and they're going to start next week with 481 points. However, let's say they have no leadership points. They have 0 leadership points. Now what do? Well, they're going to get a $500 check no matter what. And then 481 points are going to loyalty. So let me ask you. Me, I'd buy a variety coin, 20 points, a variety animal state series coin, which we know we can get more for that. I'd buy a variety coin. My points would go to 1,001. I paid $139 for a coin that I know I can turn around and sell in a few months for the same price or more than I bought it for. And it may be even a coin that I want to make my collection. And I got it because I just ordered it at the right time. And I get a $1,000 check. Oh, yeah, I'd rather have a check than loyalty points. But I'd rather have loyalty points than no points. So that was the test question for this. Brother Gary, I'm going to kind of ask you, I'm going to unmute you if I can find you. And I just asked to unmute you, so let's see if that works. I'm trying something new here.
Yes, sir, Brother Bob, that did work.
Good. That did work. So I'm going to ask you to close us out like you earlier opened us up. Close us out, Gary.
Yes, indeed, Brother Bob. Well, John Maxwell once told me this as I served with him as an associate trainer. He said, you can tell what God's up to in your life by the quality of the leaders he gives you the gift of access to. So, Bob, how many people do you have on your team?
Almost 6,000.
And right now on this Zoom, we have 17 people. We have a gift of access to you that is quite extraordinary, don't we? Because those other 6,000, they don't have that gift of access to all this wisdom and expertise you're teaching us today or every Saturday morning or throughout the week, do they?
Or they chose not to take advantage of it.
That's right. Now, some of them may have some gift of access to you, but we know that it would be impossible for you to be able to communicate effectively with 6,000 people all at one time. So we're just very thankful, Bob, because we know that in business, true mentorship, true partnership is priceless. It is the X factor, especially in our industry. I learned that from my first mentor in this industry about 20 years ago. We have all the ingredients in 7K for maximum success. We have the right product, obviously, the right timing, the right price. We have the right ownership. We have the right leadership with Bob and George and others, many of you great leaders on this team. And we also have the right marketing program for success. So the X factor is, who is our leadership team? Now, of the thousands of people that are in 7K, and Bob, that number is probably well over 20,000 today, right? Of people that are members of this organization. How many of them have a gift of access to Bob Reid or to any leader of a level of Bob Reid that can really help them? Well, many of them maybe do not, and partly because many of them have not sought that out. But we were blessed from day one to be connected with George and Bob through my sponsor, Jim McClellan. And we have a gift of access of extraordinary partnership. And Bob, we don't take that lightly. We don't take it for granted. And we see the fruit of this every day. While some organizations and companies might talk partnership, we are truly doing partnership. And we know that this is a powerful truth. The Bible calls it in Ecclesiastes, the threefold cord that is not easily broken. And in our case, the threefold cord is Roger Ball, Josh, Zach, Richard Wayne Hansen, our owners, Jason, our CEO, people that we're able to communicate with, that know us by name, that appreciate us, that bless us. And then we have that second part of the cord, which is Bob Reid, George. Many of you who are leaders are part of that second strand of the cord. And then that third strand is all the new team members that we bring in. And I had that experience yesterday, Bob. Again, I wanted to thank you. My future brother-in-law, Casey, who is my sister Judy's fiance, he became an associate yesterday because you spent 2 hours with him on the phone. Now, this was his first day in 7K. And my sister Judy's been with us for a while, but Casey woke up and the timing was for him. His brother said, I want to get some silver. His other friend said, I want to get some silver. And Casey said, I better get this going. But because of your mentorship, Bob, of 2 hours on a Zoom, which Casey was quite astonished that you would spend that much time with him as a new member. You talked to him heart to heart, and you talked to him as a businessman, to him who is a businessman. He runs a large company with my sister. So that's priceless. And it cannot be an accident. God has truly blessed us with this, Bob. And I know all of us on this Zoom today, we know it, we appreciate it, we do share it, and we're going to continue to share this, that we have all the master ingredients for the ultimate success in 7K. And we know what Roger Ball said, of all the companies he's been involved with, he's the most excited about this one. Wow, what a monumental statement from a multi-billionaire with such great success and legacy. And what a blessing we have. So thank you, Bob. And thank you, each one of you who continues to lead the way. And Bob is truly a servant leader who has a shepherd's heart. And you can see that in how he's given everything to help us. He will not let anyone go off the cliff unless they choose to. And in our team, we're seeing great success because Bob reaches out to people just like what you saw this morning. He's searching the computer. He's working for people to help them, not only to make the maximum income, but to help to build their team. So Bob, forever grateful to you. Nobody could do what you've done with us in this short period of time.
Well, I thank you, and I give it all to God because, without him, I couldn't have done any of this. And he's just made that all available to me. I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to attend this training. I hope it was an eye opener for you about some of the mechanics of the comp plan so that you can optimize it for yourself and for your members of your team. And when they each understand some of these basic mechanics, then that's when you'll tend to start building more wealth individually and collectively. And you will also start earning extra income and really start optimizing the achievement of your ranks in terms of income. I'm gonna end this recording because we're getting a little lengthy with it, and I'm gonna take any questions that you may have on this today.